There is no Santa Claus. Take it from there, you grandpa.
Buff fucking freaking goddamn humbug!
Well, boys and girls, it's Christmas time again. So you better watch out. You better not cry. Better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, checking it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry.
This is child abuse and neglect, again. Filmed on camera for profit. I don't know or understand who's watching these videos. Who's laughing at this child abuse? Who's clicking the like button for Kid Behind the Camera? He's pushing this child down for no reason. And he's putting his dirty shoe, the bottom of his shoe. How disrespectful. Nobody ever taught you that you don't put the bottom of your shoe on anybody, let alone their face or their head, let alone a child, while pushing him back with his neck back? Michael Green, this is child abuse. And why is nobody talking about it? So many parents in the community, so many survivors of abuse, sexual abuse. Other people have been neglected in the community. People know people with addictions, mental illness. But really, we're just gonna sit there and we're gonna ignore this child abuse. Anybody who's not talking about this is completely exposed right now. Whether or not they care about children, and whether or not they care about children more than a friendship, more than speaking up and doing what's right, more than sticking up for children who have been abused and neglected on camera for profit and who have some problems now because of it. Michael Green, you are a grown man in this video. And I would expect this behavior from a child, not from a grown man who's supposed to be protecting children. And someone like yourself who wanted to be a stand-up comedian, you should be making these kids laugh instead of filming them to fill up your pockets while abusing them and neglecting them. Does that seem right to anybody, that Michael got paid for this video and he's abusing his nephew? Does that seem right to anybody? Is anybody else going to speak up for these kids? Is there any other channel that cares about this information and that cares about children? If so, you need to speak up now. Now's the time. There's only going to be more channels drowning this out. And I see exactly what channels those are. Jennifer, you're not acting like a mom in this video. And there's a big problem there because you are a mom. You chose to have these kids. And you need to take care of them. And they've been abused up until this year and neglected up until this year, just a few months ago. You need to be worried that your brother is abusing your kid right next to you. He looks like he's being scapegoated. He's not as old as JC and can't protect himself as well. And he's sitting over there by himself while you're holding Jacob, and you're allowing him to be abused, and you're not even flinching. I know that you told me that you didn't know what child abuse was, or you weren't aware that he was being abused in the flying truck video. Are you fully aware now? Do we understand the gravity of the situation? These kids have been abused and neglected for so long. Jennifer, you were abused and neglected. And all your siblings were as well. And your lack of action is teaching JC over there and Jacob how to treat other people. Because even JC ends up abusing Jonathan as well. And we'll see that in the next scene. But I really have to say, I would like for the audience to imagine that you're this little boy. And you've done nothing wrong. And you didn't even ask to be born. But you do expect to be taken care of, and you do expect to be loved and cherished, because children are precious. Children are special. Children are important. You know why? Because we were all children once. We were all kids once. And some of us went through this type of behavior and this type of abuse, and some of us were lucky enough to not have to have gone through that because we had an adult that stood up for us and said no, or we had a parent that knew that this was wrong and that knew otherwise. I'm happy to be making these videos with my husband because I'm happy to be sticking up for that little boy. He's a beautiful child, and he doesn't deserve to be pushed down, and he doesn't deserve to have his face be stepped on by the bottom of your shoe, Michael Green. What is wrong with you? How can you treat a child that way? Why are children being abused in this family for no reason? First of all, there's no reason for abuse ever. Second of all, in this family, you get abused for doing nothing, for just standing there. And what would make you think it's okay to film abuse and neglect of children each and every Christmas that's been ruined of yours, and to upload it and to collect money for it? What does that say about you and what kind of person you are? As you can see, Michael Green has done his first giveaway. He's doing his first giveaway, ladies and gentlemen. It takes abuse videos on your family to come out for you to care about your audience and do a giveaway. In our next scene, you're going to see that Joshua, the oldest grandson, has learned very well from angry grandpa and from his uncle Michael on how to be abusive and how to take anger out. So basically, in the next scene, he's going to hit his younger brother, Jonathan, in the head about 3 times. And he doesn't get in trouble or punished at all. It's just acceptable behavior. We'll analyze the rest of the scene after we finish watching.
Find your shoes. Is it in the house?
Hey, I was out of here, right?
You better find your shoes, you dumb little...
Donkey. No!
He's got to find his shoe. Goddamn, we paid too much money for that.
Stop!
Careful. Jason, clean this yard. Find those shoes. You're not going in, Chief. You'll sleep out here.
Won't you?
Whoa. You better be careful. Don't. Whoa.
You bring your ass in the house.
Get inside.
Let's go, come on.
Was that his shoes?
Yes!
Another ball of some kind.
It's a ball.
You're in trouble. Get inside with that.
Well, that scene started out with verbal abuse because angry grandpa is really mad that Jonathan can't find his shoe and calls him a dumb little what? Because I've seen other videos where you say the R word. So are you just realizing you're on camera and you think that not saying a curse word or something disrespectful to this child is still not abuse? It's still verbal abuse what you're doing. And Michael's still filming it and uploading it for profit. Now Joshua, who's the eldest grandson right here, who's learned very well from angry grandpa and his uncle Michael on how to be abusive, he abuses Jonathan in this scene 3 times. He throws a ball at him, and it either hits his head or his back. Then he slaps him and hits him in the head again. And then he purposely takes a ball and throws it at his head once again. I have to tell you that there doesn't seem to be any protection of the children's heads in this family.
And it crashes in my fucking face. And I just...
Michael having a glass jar thrown at his face. Michael pushing Jonathan down as a little baby. Stepping and pushing his face back with his foot. And now we see Jonathan have a ball thrown at his head and getting slapped in the head, which is sibling abuse, which is very similar and actually the same situation we had with Daddy 05, Michael Green's best friend. This child needs to be protected. And Michael, you're a grown man and you're not supervising these children the correct way. You need to take away the ball. You need to take Joshua and put him in a timeout or take away a privilege of his. And you need to ask Jonathan if he's okay because he's just been hit in his head again. But I know why you're not asking. Because you think this is okay. Because it's happened to you. And because it's child abuse and neglect, and it's been normalized for you and your family, and you normalized it to an audience through comedy and just, I don't even know. It's not normal and it's not okay. And the way that you're asking this child to find his shoe sounds very threatening in my opinion. And telling him he's going to sleep outside and threatening him again if he can't find his shoe. Why don't you help him find his shoe? You got to put the camera down though. You got to pause the camera. And you have to be willing to do a little bit of work, because looking for something takes a little bit of work. Ordering people around and abusing children and filming it and not supervising children in the correct way, that doesn't take any work at all. It doesn't take any effort at all to allow children to be abused. It actually takes some effort to try to prevent it. Then we see angry grandpa throw a hat in the face of Joshua, which is extremely disrespectful. You're teaching disrespect when you do that. So, and it looked like it hurt too. I wouldn't want that happening to me. And I don't think anyone listening to this would want someone disrespecting them in that manner. And I think we could all agree on that. And so he throws the hat right back. But he doesn't just stop there. He wants to throw something else at you too, because he's angry. That's how you build up aggression and anger. You disrespect the children, and you act abusive and neglect them. Here's one more note about Joshua. Joshua grows up, and he has to end up going to a special school for children with behavioral problems because he was sleeping in class all day, and then getting very, very, very angry and throwing books around. It was his learned behavior from angry grandpa. And then Jonathan, who's been taught to throw things, which all the kids have been taught to throw things from angry grandpa. It's okay to throw things out of anger. It's okay to throw things, period. It's okay. Well, I guess the thing he threw just made too much of a noise. And you see how quickly angry grandpa is to go to anger and then dole out the punishment, which will be abusive. Get inside. Get inside for what? His whipping? Because according to your ex-girlfriend in the interview on my channel, AGP's ex-girlfriend's interview, Exposed, she says that AGP whips the grandkids. And I don't doubt it, because I've seen abuse and neglect on the channel all over, and we've seen the after effects too, and we'll be looking at that as well right now. Aside from there being actual video footage and proof of Jonathan being abused and neglected on camera, if you want to refer back to the Angry Grandpa Epigenetics and Abuse Film for Profit video, this child may also be dealing with brain development problems and functioning of his brain because of his mother having to deal with PTSD and abuse and neglect herself.
Johnny, talk, buddy.
Johnny, Santa! Reindeer.
Can you hear them?
That won't be hard.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Johnny.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been a good boy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a lot of toys for Christmas?
Uh-huh.
Are you going to eat me up some milk and cookies?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, I'm getting on my reindeer, and I'm starting to make my rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So Rudolph is heading your way, okay, my boy?
Mm-hmm.
Man, tell me Merry Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Say Merry
Mm-hmm.
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bye-bye.
Let's take a look at what's going on here. Now, he's sucking on his finger the whole entire time. Digit sucking is an emotion-based behavior related to difficulty with social adjustment or with stress. Although sucking for psychological satisfaction as well as for food is considered normal in infancy, digit sucking in older children has been told to be associated with abnormal psychological development. The psychological effects may be compounded by the emotional impact of peer pressure and punitive and scolding parents. Now, there are other articles that talk about children of his age sucking on their digits or their thumb and having that be normal for his age. But it's not normal for the reasons that he's doing it. This child has been abused and neglected, and we've seen it on camera a few times now. And abused in all different facets by a sibling, verbal abuse, emotional abuse. He's being exploited, and of course physical abuse. So I think that he's sucking on his finger to relieve stress, and because it's regression. Abused children may display behaviors shown at early ages, such as thumb sucking, bedwetting, fear of the dark, or fear of strangers. For some children, even loss of acquired language or memory problems may be an issue. Loss of acquired language is definitely going on here, in my opinion. And acquired language acquisition is the ability to be able to comprehend language and the ability to be able to perceive language and then produce it by using your own words and formulating sentences to be able to communicate. This child can't do that because he can't even get his finger out of his mouth. And even if his finger was out of his mouth because he's coping with his abuse and neglect, he still probably wouldn't be able to talk properly because of all these other problems that he's got going on and his loss of language acquisition. Now let's take a look at some children around Jonathan's age that don't seem to be displaying any signs of having been abused or neglected.
Hi, Santa. I don't need that lump of coal, Santa. I'm gonna be a good boy, Santa. Are you gonna let me license toys? Yes, but I'm too busy making toys for everyone, so me. And so that was Santa on the phone.
What'd he say?
Oh, he said he's gonna bring me lots of toys again.
Really hungry on my rounds.
But we made biscuits. We made angel ones and
Snowflakes.
we made some circle ones and we made
Snowflakes.
and some snowflakes.
Say, what one would you like for
They
Father
are
Christmas?
my favourite.
Ask Father Christmas what one he would like.
Yeah,
Ask him what one he would like.
them and more of Imaginext Castle.
All of these children are around Jonathan's age, and they're all having conversations with Santa, and none of these little boys have their fingers in their mouth. None of these boys are worrying about stress in their life or abuse. And they're certainly not having to worry about language acquisition, because the first little boy is very articulate and really bright. And the second little boy, you can see that he's comprehending what he's hearing. He sees that he's being talked about his behavior, and he has that little face going. And then when his mom asks him, what'd you guys talk about? He didn't know all of a sudden. He was lying. He's really smart, a little too smart. And then the third kid, the little British kid, I mean, this kid is holding two conversations at the same time. He's multitasking at that age. I would imagine that these children have very loving, caring, giving, non-abusive parents. Here's Jonathan, all grown up, this past July 2017 on Kid Behind the Camera's channel as a now 13-year-old young man.
Do you remember that day that your nose was busted and we were giving you stuff for it and stuff?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
When me and Jake was playing outside, and then he came outside and just hit me to the door.
Effects of child abuse on language development of a child. Children who are abused or neglected do not have the opportunity to obtain proper facilities, which result in speech impairment or disorders like lisping, stuttering, and stammering. As you could see in this video, Jonathan was both stuttering and stammering. And abusive environments and households make speech impairments for children like this. It makes their speech impairments even worse because you need patience, love, support, kindness. You need those things to support the child with the speech impairment. And unfortunately, in an abusive household, it's the abuse that caused it in the first place. So of course the parent's not going to be kind and supportive enough and patient enough to sit and listen to your stuttering or your stammering or whatever it may be. So that causes the child to feel a lot of stress, a lot of frustration, and even fear, unfortunately. Remember this holiday season that there is abused and neglected children. And there are people in your direct community that exercise their right every day not to talk about it on their channels. There are children that are being abused and neglected through the holidays because abuse happens every day, sometimes even on children's birthdays. And the illusion of Santa Claus is broken, and the magic is gone because it's lost in the chaos of abuse. And the effects of abuse and neglect last a lifetime. Don't be afraid to take a stand for a child and speak up. It just may be the most important thing that you ever get to do. Love to you and your families this holiday season. From our family to yours, Roasted Studios, out.
Coming on Christmas, they're cutting down trees, they're putting up reindeer and singing songs of joy and peace. Oh, I wish I had a river I could skate away on. I wish I had a river so long I would teach my feet to fly. Skate away on. I made my baby say goodbye. It's coming on Christmas, they're cutting down trees, they're putting up reindeer, singing songs of joy and peace. I wish I had a river I could skate